Glorious Stadium, my friends. Kyoko Hotoro Urhana Atkiriata. Welcome to Being, day number 16. Or should I say, day number 16 of being. Blissful existence, illuminating, and nurturing grace. We can say growth too. Or the B and the E could be becoming empty. Or being existence itself with nothing. I don't know if the G would be the where for 144 days we are breathing, we're chanting, and we're spending time with our inner being. And we're doing so with the underlying, very subtle idea that we're going to connect in with spirit more. And for the first, we're embracing spirit. We're embracing the idea that we are spirit, having this human experience in this 3D reality, but we are not of this 3D reality. So we're doing this, we're chanting the first 55 days. Okay, first of all, the imagery that they gave me is that we're spiraling up the Great Pyramid to the edge of the matrix. We're going to poke our head through the hub of the dharma chakra. We're going to use the Eye of Providence and look down at this physicality, this reality, this reality with a divine perspective. So we're going to use the Mala of Ascension, where we take the 108 seeds of a mala and we break it up into 9 groups of 12, making the Mala of Joy. Okay? And then we're extending this idea by another 36 markers, we're calling them, for another 3 chakras, 3 groups of 12, to complete this Mala of Ascension, mapping the 12 dimensions that some call this, completing this reality. Completes the ideas that all I want to talk about. And we're using the Fibonacci sequence, okay? As our means of the spiral, creating this golden spiral. Where in the first 55 days, we are loosening our grip, unclasping our attachments to this physicality, and we're engaging with spirit more. Vairagya is the term for what we're doing. So we're going to chant Om Mani Padme Hum for the first 55 days. We're going to chant it for 108 times. And then we're going to switch over to another chant for Om Ahum for 36 chants. Okay? Om Mani Padme Hum. Om, the primordial sound of the universe. Mani, the jewel or pearl. Padme is the lotus, and Hum, I am. I am the jewel of the lotus. And Om Ahum, should I be coming over? Maybe a couple of inches. Om Ahum, in the description box, Om Ahum, there's a bunch of links. Om Ahum, Om, the wisdom. Ah, the emptiness, the wisdom and the emptiness. Is I am this wisdom of the emptiness in the emptiness. This is also the body, the speech, and the mind. As we unify them all. So, when we break up these, in this mala of joy, we break up the 108 beads into 9 groups of 12, where each of the 9 groups represents one of the chakras in our Merkaba. Down at the bottom of our Merkaba, we have Vasundhara, the first star chakra. I like imagining this is in our auric field. I like imagining these are the roots leading our physical bodies into the earth, our energetic connection to it. We can reach down through, I don't know what this is. So let's center. It's, I invite and allow. As we invite and allow the holy fire to flow in, through, and around us all, in every way, in everywhere, and everyone. And I set aside my ego and my personal energy so that I may be a clear channel. Clearing is as simple as that. Centering can be as simple as that. So Vasundhara at the bottom of our Merkaba. Then we move up to Muladhara, our root chakra. And Vasundhara is this Annamaya kosha, where we're getting our nourishment. Now these koshas, these sheaths, these spears, I like to think of them as pieces of clothing. Because when we were spirit and only spirit, in this Ananda Maya kosha, this layer of bliss, there is no layer, it is bliss. We are the existence, existence is bliss. When we decided to incarnate, we put on these clothes of the other koshas. We put on the clothes of this Vijnanamaya kosha. Let's go to the rest of the chakras first. We'll do the chakras, then we'll do the koshas, Niyadhara, Arskahituru, so Muladhara, the root chakra, Svadhisthana, the sacral chakra, where the self is established, the water chakra. We have Manipura, the fire chakra, the solar plexus chakra, Anahata, the heart center, Kasihitora, the air chakra, our mind, Iskohutura, Vishuddha, the throat chakra, the sound chakra, the Akash chakra, Iskohutura, Vishuddha, Anya or Agnya, Agya, Iskatakuryu. There are many ways to say it. My people call it Anya, and yesterday we talked about why. Kasi ikuturyu, intuition, and interestingly, we're in the Akash. So these are the 5 elements here. This is above the 5 elements. And its beach mantra is Om. And Sahasrara, the crown chakra, our lotus, our lotus when our kundalini has risen, and our lotus has expanded, whose beach mantra is also our seed sound, is Om. And at the top of our Merkaba, in our auric field, is Vyapini, the soul star chakra. And Vyapini means the goddess who is everywhere. Because there's all that's out there that we think is not a part of who we are. As in this whole series is about us loosening our grip on who we think we are and opening up to this infinite possibility of what the true nature of our spirit is. Simply put, that's it. Now, these are the 9 chakras. in our Merkaba. Now let's talk about the koshas. So, in the beginning, before the beginning, we're also going to talk about that today. It's really interesting how it rolled into this. Before the beginning, we were pure consciousness. We decided from this seed, this anda, to come into, to create this matrix, to come into this matrix and to incarnate. And to do that, we needed to put on clothes of who we think we are, all these different identities, so that we can have individual experiences and set them apart and understand the differences and the sameness of them. So we first put on, so we're up here in consciousness, in the highest source of consciousness, in this Ananda Maya Kosha, and in our auric field, what represents our blissful existence, our Anandamaya Kosha is Vyapini, Niyariyashko. That's through which we access this bliss. So we put on a cloak, a layer upon ourselves called higher knowledge, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Some call it wisdom, some call it truth, and it's all that stuff up here. Or in relation to our we being the entire universe. We're dealing with the three higher chakras, Sahasrara, Anya, Vishuddha, the Akash, and two aspects of, let's call it heaven, of intuition and pure cosmic energy, consciousness. And all the information and wisdom that can come from not being overwhelmed by our lower chakras. Then we put on another. Since we wanted to expand our experience, we created ourselves a mind that is separate from this divine mind, this unified mind. We created this mind of the self, this Manomaya Kosha, and we put on a new cloak. I have a mind. I have a mind. I am me. I am separate. And ego. This actually created the ego. But that was out of this intuition. We decided, we can learn better and expand more by being individuals, by having a sense of self, of the mind, being logical. Then, to expand further, we said, there is this prana that is out there, but how can we bring this prana to the physical? With the breath. Let us put on another jacket on top of that, another conundrum of physicality to us. And we put on this kosha of pranamaya kosha, of this illusion that this, you think that's air you're breathing. I always think that's funny, this matrix line. And then we put on this last thing when we incarnate, is that we're getting our nourishment, we're only getting our nourishment from the physicality. It was just another bunch of ideas that we put on so that we can be human and forget that we're divine, so that we can eventually elevate. In this idea of ascension, when we, in the path of the lotus, when we come up to our crown chakra and it opens up, then we push out further these three other ideas where we're chanting Om Mah and engaging in spirit. These other three dimensions, the other three realms, ideas, chakras, nyaka, sohutura, asata. They're three in one, because they're inseparable. three Sanskrit words that we're going to use. Rita, this cosmic order, this truth, this virtue, this wisdom, that we consider that is from our human aspect, we consider this Rita is outside of us, that it is a goal that we're reaching up to attain, to do. Kushyata. Once we know about it, we can then start doing actions that are more righteous, more in alignment with the cosmic order, the dharma, the flow of energy of this universe. And then we can adopt habits that are in the way of the dharma of the universe, so that we are performing actions in a dharmic way. Then this vikara, this divine change or divine action, once we understand it enough that we interact up there with the higher dimensions, with everything that we do, we're causing these divine changes, these divine actions in divine timing. And then this third chakra, this third idea, that's still inseparable from the other two, this 3 in 1, Shrishti, this divine creation is one way to say it. I like the other two options, emanation, because first of all, the emanation means that it just shows up, it just appears. It's the result of us causing the change and us allowing the change and working with the universe. This is the universe's response when we have an action. And if we're aligned with it, it just emanates, it just appears, it happens. Abraham Hicks likes to call it that when we're a vibrational match to it, it appears. Okay? And these are all the ideas of 12 chakras or Today, though, you've already read the title. Let's see if everything is 3 in 1. And Om Purur Bhuva Svaha Niyaryacha, Svaha or Svaha, which starts the Gayatri mantra, Niyara Sohutor. Where am I going with this? You know, we've already been talking about the threes of the body, mind, and spirit, these four doors. In yoga, we have these ideas of the gunas, the tamas, the rajas, and the sattva. In Ayurveda, we have these ideas of the doshas, our kapha, pitta, and vata. This kapha is earth and water energy, pitta is water and fire energy, and vata is air and akash energy. We also have, aligned with the gunas, we have the earth, the sun, and the moon energy. Let's talk just a little bit about tamas, and then rajas, and then sattva, just shortly. Tamas is of the earth, it's earth energy. It's us being stuck in this physicality. It's also inertia, besides all the negative words that are associated with tamas, the darkness, the anger, the things like that. We're being caught in our emotions. I like inertia, the Newton's first law. An object at rest stays at rest, and an object that in motion stays in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force. And the other word I like is ignorant. So we're stuck in our ways. I'm stuck not moving anywhere. I'm stuck not elevating. Why am I stuck though? Okay, if we use ignorant, I didn't know any better. I don't know a better way to do it. But it's also, I could be in a downward spiral, or I'm just lazy. It could be any number of things. I'm being fearful. I'm being overwhelmed by my emotions. I I have too big of an ego. I want things, or I'm lustful. I'm overwhelmed by my desires and what I want. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And I'm caught in my spiral. So, and maybe we're resistant to change, or we can't just help it. Another way to look at the tamas, though, is that, and some people are stuck in tamas and don't know that they want to get out. Cool. I honor you on your path. Some people understand that they're stuck in this downward spiral, but don't know how to get out. Okay, at least they're not ignorant. They know they're spiraling downward. Sometimes when we're there, we need to go talk to somebody, maybe even a professional. Maybe we go to an energy worker. Maybe we pick up the practice of yoga. We'll get there. So maybe the idea is, although we prefer not to be experiencing this tamas, this contrast, we actually are in a position of unrealized spiritual power. One, because we have our inner being that is the infinite source. It has this infinite power in it. So we're in our tamas and it's unrealized. So we are still learning. We're still gaining the benefits from this experience. Although we're experiencing the contrast, there's some reason our inner being wants to experience this contrast, to break free of something, to learn something, to expand. Have faith that we are integrating what is necessary. We're down in this tamas, in the lower chakras, living there, maybe even stuck there. We're integrating what is necessary for our divine expansion. When it's time, we'll be open to listening. We'll be open to changing our mind, to enhancing our experience, to finding out how to align. Okay. And now this Rajas, king, Niaryasko Utoru, it's the sun energy. And as the king, the righteous ruler, or the queen, Niaryasko Utoru, as being the righteous ruler of our reality, we understand our lower chakras. We understand we're on this earth. We understand the ideas of fearful and safety. We understand of fight or flight or rest and digest. We understand those things. We understand Svadhisthana, our water chakra, our emotions and pleasure. And we make conscious choices as to when we're engaging in that pleasure and not allowing that pleasure or emotions to rule us. We rule them. And that goes the same with what we want. Our inspiration, our fire, that we're not letting those desires and those wants and needs to rule us in our conscious mind and our actions. We're letting our conscious mind rule over them, decide, and steer the ship of our reality. In the sattva, this essence of truth, this moon energy, is more allowing. And these are everything here in this physicality is made of these three qualities. And they're inseparable. There's three in one. We're going to get to Yoga Sutra 3.17. Yeah, let's go. Now, in our Mala of Joy and in the Mala of Ascension, we break up the 12 seeds or markers in each of the groups into 4 groups of 3. And this is modeled after Samadhi Pranayama. Yesterday we geeked out talking about the internal combustion engine and pistons and how they've developed a quantum piston. So they're not using the laws of thermodynamics for the macro world, this world of chemicals and more complex molecules. They're down at the subatomic particle, and they're dealing with bosons and fermions to generate the same type of work in that 4 cycle of sama, vritti, pranayama, the box breath. Now we're going to get to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There's links in the pinned comment. Okay, we'll go now with this. As Patanjali, amazing individual, and he is attributed to writing the sutras. I'm going to pause for a moment, and we're going to talk about the Fibonacci sequence, because this Fibonacci sequence is named after an Italian in the 1500s. Well, what did he do? He traveled to India, and he read the translations, and it's all based on a work by this guy named Pingala. And this Pingala guy, he studied the chanting, all the sutras. He studied them, and he so he studied the long and short sounds of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and many, many, many other sutras, but many other chants, because some of them are shlokas. There's Iskahata Arvataka. That's not the point, though. So he wrote this, and it was the first evidence of binary being used, the long and the short, the 1 or the 0. And based on what he did, he found sequences, and he first described what is now called the Fibonacci sequence. This golden ratio, he described it in his work. Interestingly, there's a bunch of scholars that have come to the conclusion that this Pingala is Patanjali. So I knew we'd eventually talk about the Yoga Sutras. To me, it's an amazing work. Now, for all you yogis, yoga teachers, and purists, I ask you to relax for a moment as we break down Patanjali's name. Okay? Patana means relaxing. We're sowing the seeds. We're falling into the ocean. But it also means sublimation, which is we're instantaneously changing from a solid to a gas. We're increasing entropy, the choices that we have. Now, jala is a net. Indra's net, or network, but it's also the water or a flood. Well, Patana, again, is we're falling into the ocean. Cool. Yoga, where the union, yoking, the binding, the combining, and this Patanjala Yoga Shastra is really what this thing's called. It's a Shastra. This is a miraculous weapon. These Yoga Sutras. Somebody else has translated it into Sutra, but it's a Shastra, okay? Once we understand, well, in this fight, this idea of fighting and breaking free and cutting through of the net, this entrapment of this reality, entrapment of our mind, the Shastra is, yes, a miracle weapon. It's one way to look at it. So the sutras, for those who don't know, sutras are divided into 4. Some call them chapters, some call them books. They're padas, okay? P-A-D-A, pada, okay? Now, para means foot. So it's 4 feet. Sure. But it could be. Para also means residence. I like that. Because once we are learning about each of the paras, we're taking residence in them. Okay? We're standing on them like a foot, but we're taking residence. But in light language, pa, ruler, da, giving, the giving ruler, niaroso uturo urakarasakatati. Once we master it, each chapter, each pada, this yoga is, we're giving it freely. We're being the ruler of our reality, and we're giving this benevolence that we've learned from it freely. So this first pada is Samadhi pada. Everybody has their own idea what they want to call it. So kuturu, some call it about concentration, some call it about this idea of samadhi. If we remember from samadhi, just means union or coalescing the concentration. It's the result of the concentration. It's the union of the concentration and the object. We'll get there. Samadhi means so much more. If we remember from Vishnu relaxing and resting on his serpent as he dreams existence into reality with his consort Lakshmi. We don't want to discount Lakshmi. His serpent is Adi Shisha is the way it's written, but my people call it Adi Shisa. This Adi is the king or the highest aspect of this serpent, the highest kundalini. Sama, same. The highest sameness. It's the understanding of the mind. Because when we start to understand our mind, how it works, and we start to master it, samadhi is this mastery of our own mind and everything else that comes with it. Because once we're done with samadhi, once we're done with the first pada, we can move on to totally cool. Great, I've got this great tool called my mind, mantra. I've got this great tool called my mind. What can I do with it? Second chapter tells us. It's our practice. It's our repetition. It's our recipe. It's our how we get better at this thing called life. And to me, once we understand our mind, with sadhana, with our practice, with ritual, with repetition, with this residence, we're building this house of embetterment, which eventually will become this house of enlightenment. Through our practice, we are elevating our mind from the tamas into the rajas, through practice, through understanding the mind and putting it into practice. Because that's the only way we're going to rebuild our belief systems is through practice, through repetition. Now I love the third chapter, the third pada, Vibhuti pada, some call it progressing, To me, I like it transcending the mind. It's about kasi ikutur, some call it supernatural powers. We'll get to the meaning. I see it as that we're coming from this rajas, our being the righteous ruler, into we're transcending the mind into this sattva, into this essence of truth that is out there, that is outside of our mind. Because our mind, we like to think our conscious mind is inside our bodies. So we're now no longer thinking of ourselves. We're not thinking of our practice anymore and what our practice can do for us. Interestingly, though, in the sadhana, Ashtanga Yoga comes from these sutras. It describes with sadhana, sadhana, talks about karma. Ashtanga, I like the idea that Ashtanga is not just 8 limbs of yoga. They could be spokes of the dharma chakra, sure. Rungs of a ladder of ascension. That's why I like the 4 padas, is that it's built in ascension order, like the Bhagavad Gita. Its chapters are in ascending of ascension to ascension. And these 8 limbs, these 8 rungs of the ladder to getting us to sit in our crown chakra and then elevate our lotus to this place of pure existence, of pure observation. We tried learning about pure observation in the Samadhi Pada. We learned about Om, Niyara Asku Uturi. We learned about clearing our mind. Asku Vishayata. In Sadhana, hopefully we're asking our inner being about discernment. The yamas and yamas. Pranayama. And we culminated sadhana, our practice, with the beginnings of pratyahara, the withdrawal of our senses, okay? Because once we start withdrawing our senses, that we're no longer relying on the senses of our physicality. We're jumping into Anya. We're interacting through Anya. We can scan our body. We can not feel our lower chakras. We can not feel all these overwhelming emotions. Hopefully we learned how to control our mind in Samadhi Pada, but this is a spiraling thing. It's an iterative process of bettering ourselves. This withdrawal of the senses promotes us simply being. Now this vibhuti, kasikata, vibhuti, niyaryasha akutura. Vi, this higher. We talked about Vi before in the Vijnana Mind Kosha. We talked about Vi in this Vikara. Kara is change, and Vikara is the higher change, and Vibhuti is the higher Bhuti. Niyaraska atakuryata. Not that Bhuti. Niyaraska atakuryata. Bhuti means wealth, abundance. It's the number 8. Sikukuchara artha in the word system. It's our superpowers. Bhuti also means being, existence. Okay? Where do we get that? Bhu. Kasu Uttara. Bhu. It's the earth, the base of a triangle. It means to become. It means to live. It means to exist. T as that. Internalizing that. Let's get back to Bhu for a second. Because Bu is the first syllable that was created after Om. In the creation of the matrix, before the creation of the matrix, the Supreme Consciousness, that's you, broke. Really? Have I been talking that long without the headset on? Tashi ikutura. How about this now? I'm going to have to listen to this to see if I'm wasting my time. In the creation of the matrix, the Supreme Consciousness, you, broke the beginningless, always present existence of Anda, this egg, this seed, this primordial seed of existence. They gave it a name. And from it, the sound Om emerged. That was the first sound. After that, the first sound was B. The second sound was Bva, Tsikaturio. And the third was Sva, or Svaha, Sva. Those are the three sounds after the Om. Well, together, Bu, Bhuva, Svaha, Bur, Bhuva, Svaha are collectively the Om, 3 in 1, Nyaryaskutso. So it fits with the theme of Yoga Sutra 3.17. This gave us the Gayatri mantra, Nyaryaska Aturyuto. There are links, so you can read about it. And there's one where you can listen to some people sing it 108 times. So I like to think of this third pada, this Vibhuti pada, as the residence of highest existence, and of tranquility and peace. Because we get there through peace. We get there by elevating our mind, then emptying our mind, as I'm talking like it's a goal. And we're elevating from our righteous ruler up to the sattva, spirit, this truth that's out there somewhere. This essence of truth, because it's so subtle. It's not just truth, it's the essence of truth. Para number 4, chapter number 4, or the residence number 4. I like that term. Kevalya ni atahara aska asu uturyototon. Swami J likes to call it liberation. Yeah, that's too generic. To me, I like to think of it as transcending reality. Some call it liberation, some call it enlightenment, but we're going from what we turned on in the previous pada, this Vibhuti pada, Nyaresko Uturyoto, where we're residing in the sattva, Nyaresko Ushototo. What's left? What's left? I'm residing in the sattva, Nyaresko Uturyoto. Well, returning back to just pure existence, which is Purusha, Nyareska Atukuryo. So we learn about Purusha and we learn about letting go of what we think already is the ultimate, the sattva, Nyaresko Uturasca. Now, K, interestingly, means to sound, to speak. Isn't that what caused the Om to begin with? Nihakata Arasa. It also means to fulfill. Okay, work with me here. Vairagya ni araska atoriuto. One of the meanings of Vairagya is a spiral of a conch shell, which is the golden spiral, which is also what? The gentle tuning of our vibration. It's also convergence into alignment. It's what we're doing on this Great Pyramid. We're spiraling up this Great Pyramid, converging at the tip, at the edge of the matrix, converging into alignment. Val also means to approach, to converge. Ya, well, we know about Ya. Yum is the Bij mantra for Anahata, our heart center. Ya, that, air, love. It's alignment. And if we let go of the idea that Ya means air, and if we let go of the idea of that it's the mind of the self, it then becomes the mind of love, or the mind of alignment, or the mind of the one, or the mind of consciousness. Kevalya could mean being the residence of Om, or just being. What this whole series is about. Now, Vibhudipada talks about samyama, the last three limbs of Ashtanga, the last three rungs of Ashtanga. You can't separate the last three rungs from each other. There's the three in one. There's dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. You can't separate the the focus and the concentration. What I want to focus on and the continuation of it. And then allowing samadhi to happen and allowing the information to come through. It's the subtleties, it's internal, it's external, it's everything. And this pada is talking about. Some of the experiences, and it really just talks about samyam. But this kevalya, talks about a lot. Once we understand that and we're transcending and we're up in this realm of the truth, where we're understanding karma and dharma, and our subconscious, different ways of perceiving things, lightning of the mind, what happens when we fail. Before enlightenment and after enlightenment. There's a Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The last three of the pada are talking about, what do we think of these gunas, this tamas and rajas and sattva? Three qualities of everything in this matrix. What do we think of them after we're enlightened? Okay? Every time you practice on your mat, you bring new meaning to each of the Yoga Sutras. And even do you get new meaning out of Yoga Sutra 1.1? The practice of yoga begins now. And what does nirodha mean? What does, slowing or changing the ways of the mind or not engaging in the modifications of the mind? What does nirodha mean? It means different things the more you practice. And the more you understand about your mind, this idea of one of the beginning concepts of the Yoga Sutras is kasu ukatiyariyatata. They change. Isku uturu utare arana hasku utara. Let's see, what else? What else? Kasi ikuturu utukara. So, Yoga Sutra 3.17. And interestingly, 17 can't be separated from 16 and 18, because without the other two, this is really meaningless. But 17 made the point. Okay? When we're meditating, I'm going to use this person's words here, though. Overlapping the word, object implied, and the idea there produces one unified impression. When you think of something and it has a name, you think of the object and you think of the name of the object, and then you bring all those things together, and you can meditate on each and any one of them and bring new meaning, or you can meditate on all of them and bring new meaning. Yeah, I didn't like your wording of it. But I got a link below, as we got 4 different translations of 3.17. There are ways we can meditate. We can look at the object, derive our own meaning. We can take the name of it. This is why I'm playing with all the different meanings of it. Because what are the different meanings, and what can I gain from the different meanings? This is one of the aspects of these 3 that we're playing with. Can we derive more meaning in here, or more meaning in here, so that we can be a better righteous ruler? We can enhance our practice so that we can then elevate from the tamas to the rajas, and elevate from the rajas to the sattva, and then elevate from the sattva into purusha. And we can focus on all those things separately. We can focus on them unified. There's 3. Is the one, and the one is the 3. The all is the one, and the one is the all. That's all it's really saying. No matter how many times you say it. Oh, and there's a link that you can actually hear somebody chant it. And I got another link. If you want to hear the Sanskrit channel, the guy from the Sanskrit channel chant all of the Yoga Sutras. Takes about a half an hour, and he'll do it in proper Chanda. So, apologies for half of me talking with the microphone down there. Hopefully it was good enough. That's what happens when you're tired, overworked. But it is what it is. And hopefully hopefully you're still here. So I'm going to flip my legs, not that. Going for a little bit of ease. So I'm going to keep my knees up for just a tad. I'll invite you to relax. Whether you lie down, whether you sit, or sit in seated meditation, ease and comfort are primary. As we focus our awareness on our breath, as we slowly deepen and lengthen our breath. As we feel how it feels to breathe in. And we feel how it feels to breathe out.
as we listen to the sound of our breath as we breathe in. And we listen to the sound of our breath as we breathe out. As we feel the cool air as we breathe in. As we feel the warm air when we breathe out. As we feel how it feels to breathe in. As we feel how it feels to breathe out. Now let us focus our awareness on our heart center. For in our heart center is the home of our holy fire. And our holy fire is the source of our bright light. And every breath that we take with intention fans the flames of our holy fire, thus increasing our bright light. As we invite and allow the holy fire to flow in, through, and around us all, in every way, and everywhere, and every when. And we ask the holy fire to only allow in that which is for our highest good and the highest good of all. And I invite you to start the divine flow if you have not done so already. Let us take the energy from our heart center and let us move it up through the chakras. Moving it up through Vishuddha, through Anya, through Sahasrara, through Vyapini, moving it up through the realms, moving it up through the dimensions, to the edge of the matrix, entering into this highest source of consciousness through the ideas of Rita, Vikara, and Shrishti, this divine order, divine action, and divine emanation. All ideas are resonant in this highest source of consciousness. These ideas in this highest source of consciousness, where there is no ego, where there is no judgment, where there is only total acceptance in everything here in existence, in this highest source of consciousness. Although it has many names, they're the same thing. Unconditional love, total acceptance, Rita, Vikara, Shrishti, holy fire, all the same thing. Kuchata ara nahiakoryuto, inseparable. Kuchara arkanaso utoriata. Where all of these ideas and words always support free will, and all of these ideas have no judgment, and all of the ideas are unlimited in power. Let us bring back more pure holy fire down through the ideas of Shrishti, Vikara, Rita, into this matrix, Prakriti, down through the realms, Nyakatara Arakanata, through the dimensions, through Vyapini, purifying it, through Sahasrara, purifying it, through Anya, purifying it, through Vishuddha, purifying it, and back into Anahata, purifying our heart center. Now let us ground this energy effectively, moving it down through the chakras, moving it through Manipura, purifying it, through Svadhisthana, purifying it, through Muladhara, purifying it, through Vasundhara, purifying it. Now imagine growing roots down into Mother Earth, down, 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 deep into the core of Gaia, wrapping these roots around the heart of Gaia. Giving her a great big hug and bringing back her grounded love. And her grounded love is simply the reminder that we are spirit having a human experience and that we're not really from this 3D realm. And bringing back her grounded love up through the root system, through Vasundhara, Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, and back into Anahata, our heart center. Now let us turn over to our inner being to continue this divine flow. Without any conscious thought whatsoever. Ashahikatara itoto orota ahataka shiaka atakarate iso uku urhata atayarata. And on the out breath, with intention of our conscious mind and sankalpa of our heart mind, our inner being, our true authentic self. Let us push this energy out from our heart chakra. Let us push it out from our physical bodies. Push it out from our auric field and into every aspect of our awareness in every way and everywhere and every when. Si utoto rohaka asana ati tahata. Shioko utoro tanari. Now the process for this meditation, we will start off with one Aum, that is Om, the primordial sound of the universe, with each of its sounds separated. Nyariyashko, A for the heart, U for the root, for internalizing it and grounding it, making it real. We will chant Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times using the Mala of Joy. The Koshi chime will let us know when we're on the last one. And we will transition with one Aum. Then a few breaths and a gentle reminder that we will switch the chant to Om, Ah, Ung. We will again transition with one I Ying. That is the divine feminine version of Om, Aim, Nyoroscotoru, where we're stretching out the sounds of Aim, Ah for the heart, I E for the crown, and for drifting off into nothingness, drifting into spirit, resonating with spirit. We will chant Om Ahung 36 times using the Guru bead of ascension, since it's really outside the matrix. It's both inside and outside. It's made of the three qualities, and it's made of the one consciousness, where the three is one and the one is three. And when we Om, we are inviting and allowing and observing the observing the wisdom. And in the Ah, we're observing the emptiness. And in the Hung, we are observing the sameness and the difference. Subtly, without any conscious thought. And we will chant Om Ahung 36 times. The Koshi chime at the end will let us know when we're on the last one. And we will close out with one Aing. Kosu uturu uta isko utara arnahasko utara titata. And a breath in for Aum. And a breath in to chant. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Karvasotaro Otonoro Shihikadara Aranahasoto Kashihiko Toro Harnoro Itor Haroka Hayata Atoto Horoku Uro Nahoshoyo Sita Karata Hatora Horsana Yarata Kashihiko Toro Otonaha Ashihiko Toro Shiaka Atara Aranahasuta Kita Taharar Kihitora Ashihika Toro Utana At I Sha Sohuka Shihis Uta Tora Natura Arasko hotoro urhana. Shaya ka arahartana hita. Ta taraha ka asuhutara. Atukara heso ata. Kuchuru hukorana. Arsko hotoro una. Shita taharatikirura. Kutoro hotoro naharawa. Arski hotoro utoro. Kasisko hotoro unatu. Asuhuku hotoro unatu riti. Kasuhati arahara nahatuar. Ashuhuko hotoro utana warawara. Kutoro uta orhatana wara. Atukoro hotara arakehenara. Shuhuko uro. Atukoro to uhutaraha. Hasua toto hurayata ana hasua. Otoro hurtoro urhana. Utoto uratutu. Koshuko uruhunata. Shai toto uratanara. Sihiko toro utanadawara. Kashihiko uruhota. Otoro hukunarawatu. Utotoro huku asana hutoro. Ashohoyato aurora. Kashihikatara. Nate tukoro hutoro. Usho ukoro utanwara. Ashihitoro ukahetara. Kashihikoro. Usho hutoto ura. Hatutoro huka anaro. Koshihikora hatura hata. Asuhuko utoro. Arakashihitata ara. Ashototo horo hotoro. Machiko hotoro ano hotaro huko. Kashihe sotoro. Hasu uku hotoro huta. Asho hotoro tanawara hato. Ito tohoro haka nahatu warahaya. Atoro haka atara. Kashiko uro hutanaraka. Hashiko totora tota. Itukora totaha. Koshihiko atarahata. Atora urohanoko oto. Kosho huko torohato. Nato tohoroto otoroka. Arkorosho hoto. Arohoto oto no okorea. Shai e kuchoro urono doro. Isho huko arohoto rahoto. Asihiko toro okoro. Kai arahasana atoro. Osho toto horo takanado. Utoro hoka anata hahi. Arakosho hokoro. Arokonoro. Hasu toto horota urana heta. Isho hoko uro hotoro naruga. Aroko hotoro. Iso hoko utoro na hasutaha. Iso tota harawata aruna hoko. Ashihikata. Sa akaharate ata. Asho toto horotanawara. Iso hoko utorota. Kotora hatana haka. Isho hotoro ukonaharto. Isha haka atarara nahiro. Atoro horokonaha. Atoro hotokoho. Ashihiko utoro hara. Isho hoko oho toro hatana harata hato. Itoro hotono. Atu tuhurota anahatako. Asihikitoro utonoro takarawatora. Ishoko otora nahatora hata. Atora horonaha. Arkoroso utora. Satu tohoro hanarwara. Ishoko utora honatora he. Ashoko urohotona. Kate takarata atora hatona. Kate takoratana. Atuta ararakana hasua. Kotor hotona navatora. Isohoko ura shahiatora. Anora harahate. Asuto tohora tokorata. Aroka heatora hasunaha. Arakarata he. Arohorsho okoro utonoro. Ito tohoro taharata kaheta. Arakorno tohoro hashayotora. Isahaka atara. Ichahatata harakahaya. Katudor nohoraka. Atoroko oro. Asohoko utoro hakananara. Asohoko uroto ornata karahisa. Atohorata kahanahera. Arohocho utoro utonoro. Asohoko utoro unahatora hata. Kachita taharata heta karata. Arsko horoto horata hararisa hanata. Koroto oroto ota. Karata atahara arkana hasasira. Kotoro ota orona hata karahata. Isohoko oro hota ara arkana hasasira. Otoro hukona. Arakahatata arahata hetara. Katuto horota orahakairata. Katuto horota ayanahasa. Otoro horonaha. Atakarata hetara. Isohoko utoro onato horata. Isohoko utoro anahasaka ateirara. Arhototo una. Ashihiko utoro onahatura. Katoto urata atarata. Ishoko hotoro aranahasaka eta. Otoro horanahaka. Ashohoko utoro onahatura. Shito tohura ayatahara kahanatavara. Ashohoko utoro. Atikarara tahatara aranahatata. Kushuhu utoro anatovara harakora. Shiaka arahata. Soto tohoroka ata. Ashihiko utoro anatovara hatavara. Ashohoko urohota. Kashihika atata arahatakana. Asuhuko utora hatua. Ishohote yariyanahake. Atoto urota ahana. Arakorosho utora. Isata taharakana. Itukoratara harakanaha. Atoto hurota. Asahaka atara arnaha. Ishoto tohorohaturaha. Arkahanati. Arhoto urhoshaya. Kata takarahatita. Arkohonoto urhaya. Atakarata he. Ashohotoro unahata. Utoro ko urohanata arhitara. Atuto korota hatara harakaha. Ashihikuro nahatuda a. Katara hanata karita aratakana. Atukuru huturo hashanaka. Atutu horota'a. Atakoroto uhushayata'a. Sata kararta hadira hara. Utoro horona hakura. Achko horota ana. Asahaka ita ta'arataha. Atutur hukanahera. Atukorota anahasaka e. Atoro horokana. Ashihika atara arkanahata. Hisokor hukanahatu. Utahatara arakanahasake itara. Atuhoroto ota. Atuhoro anahasa aka. Hashika atara aranaka tukara. Hishohoko urohoka naha. Atorohoko ota. Atakarata aherata. Atuturohoka naha saayaka harata heta. Hishohoko urohotana nata. Arorakaha. Atuhu ututu urata. Hisata karata arashahisa. Ashuhuko uroto urahanayara. Kasihikitita harana. Atuhoroto o. Kasihikuturo unahatura. Aturuhuturo urnahatura. Kachita taharharanahayara. Atokohoroto. Asuko otoro anahasata. Shaihika atara harakanahisoko oro. Achohotoro anahata. Ashihiko urota. Asuhuko uro onohotoro arkoha. Kasita taharata etoro hota. Asuhuko uro. Isahaka atara arnahatura. Kashihikuroto ornahatukurate. Isohoko uroto arnahaya. Katita karata ata. Asohoko utoro onahatura. Isotoro onahatura. Asohoko uta. Achukototo urataha. Kasita darhana gaishora. Ushoko utoro harkanahasa ayaraha. Kotuto uhuta. Shisa ayatatiariaranatua. Aroharoko utona. Atoto urota ana. Hasututo uroka asha ata takarata hetara. Ushohuko utoro. Shayakiatiarana takarata. Ututu uhuto arhata. Kashihikotora arnohotara. Kisohikotoro ona. Shayhikato urohotara. Sata takarata hetora. Ishohoko urohotana naradakai. Kochohoroto uto. Utata harata hata. Kochohuturoto anna. Ishokohorotaha. Ashihiketata aranaha. Utoto uhortahara. Ishohotoro arnahata karihisata. Arhoroto. Ishkohorota anaha. Atita karata hatitaha. Kotoro horana. Ishohoko utoro onahata. Kichoto horohatara. Kasi anahata ta'ara hatika hotoro anaha. Atakarate hitoro urokona hatoro. Hasihika tara haratihita. hutoro hutonana atakahara atakaha. And a breath in for Aum. And the gentle reminder, Niyaryaswa Utoru Ukunata Atara Tahita, that we're switching the chant. Iso Kutoro Tata, and I will switch the position of my legs. Ni Utoro Utakanata Atarata. Iso Huko Uru Tatarayara. And just a gentle reminder, we're switching the chant to Om Ahung Ni Uruhuta Atara Akaheta. Ututu ura ni isko uturu asa aikatara. There we go. So uhutu uhunaha. And we will start off with one aying. We will chant Om Ahung 36 times. The Koshi chime at the end will let us know when we're on the last one. And we will close out with one aying. Ni uruhusa akuta a sahi icha atata atar ranahi tsoka. And a breath in for aying. And a breath in to chant. And a breath in for eyeing. Stay here for as long as you like. Maybe even pause the video to spend more time in the energy. And when you are ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the here and now. Begin to feel and sense the room around you, the space around you. Maybe invite in some gentle movements, maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes and welcome in the new now. Iso uto urahaya akahatara ekota. Congratulations, my friends. We have completed day number 16 of being. Blissful existence, illuminating and nurturing grace. Niakatariata, or growth. Iskatakariata. In the description box, there are links to the positive word list where you can decide what the B, the E, the I, the N, and the G all mean for you. No uturiata. Becoming empty. Iskatakaria. Being, existence. All great choices. I encourage you to journal. I have things I need to write about. They shared quite a bit. Doubt I'm going to forget it though. I encourage you to journal. It's how we advance. It's how we can go back. It doesn't matter how you write it down, whether you type yourself an email like I do. You can write it down with pen and paper. You can draw, light script. It does not matter. You can make yourself a recording. Make yourself a video. Hey, I just did being number 16 and blah, 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 blah. Blog about it. It does not matter. What is going to help you express what your experience was or is? How you remember it does not matter. Asko utur urnata katayata. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. Today and all along, we talked a few times about the easy path, but this practice, all these getting our mind and ascending in stages and understanding it that way, yep, they all work when we allow them to work, when we practice at it. It's what the Yoga Sutras are there's so much wisdom in them. There's so much wisdom in the Gitas. There's so much wisdom in the Mahabharata, Iskanata Uryotoaf, the rest of the Vedas, and what came afterwards, the Puranas, the Upanishads, Niska Asha, Uturu, Uttarayata, and even Chakra Nirupanam, which came about 1500 years after that. Nitakata Takaryasa, Otutu Uru Takatarata. So, my mind is blank. Iskohuturu utara. Beautiful. It's being in existence. So I thank you, my friends, for sharing in my highest bliss. Shine on from your inner being. And make it a great day. Because why would you leave it up to anyone else? Asana.